Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is an FFA jamboree for you here all today. We have Croak, we have Nakai. The memes are loud and clear, and we shall have some fun with you all. So, for the matchup, of course, we have myself leading the Lizardman, and we are going to be heading off as Nakai, with Lord Croak in to support with all of his lovely AoE magic attacks. Our front line is going to be Saurus warriors with shields. In the back line, we have some red-crested skinks, and we have some sacred Kroxigors to help punch through the enemy front line. Some nice salamander hunting packs to provide a little bit of range support, some Pharaoh cold ones, and 2 chameleon skinks. And that will wrap things up for my army here. And for the rest of the armies, we have the Skaven being led by Smitdog, Tank leading Chaos, and the Shadow of Nagaroth is leading Norsca. So we will run right on into the Skaven here, as we have a Doom Wheel kind of poking its nose out a little bit. Front line being Storm Vermin, Clan Rat Spears, some Skaven slaves mixed in. And we have a Grey Seer of Plague as the Lord. We have some slingers kind of in the back protecting that warp lightning cannon, and some death globe bombardiers hoping to get some nice lovely blobs to fire in on. We actually have a pair of bombardiers looking in both directions. Some more Sturm Vermin protecting those cannons, and they actually have a third unit of death globe bombardiers. There is quite a few on the field for the Skaven. Otherwise, you just Skaven slaves and some clan rats more in the back. So let's swing on over to Norsca and see what they have to offer us on this day. So we have Marauder Horsemen, 3 throwing axes. We have some Skin Wolves, armored actually. We have a pair of those. Wolfric the Wanderer on horseback by the looks of things, as well as a Shaman Sorcerer of Fire, bringing Burning Head and Flaming Cloak, or Cascading Fire Cloak. For the rest of the units here, we have some Norscan Ice Wolves, pair of those, some Marauders in the front line, as well as some Great Weapon variant, probably brought to deal with Chaos. For the Chaos forces, speaking of which, we have some Marauder Horsemen in the forefront, some more Chaos Warhounds with Poison off on the far flanks, and a vanguard of 1 Horsemaster and 2 Horsemasters, 1 Throwing Axe variant, and we have a Chaos Sorcerer of Fire up on his Manticore. He's going to be bringing Burning Head and Cascading Fire Cloak, much like what Norsca has brought. We have Kolek Sun Eater, we have the Gorby's Chariots, a Chaos Chariot, and then some Chaos Knights in the back. And that will wrap things up. So Norsca and Chaos will be fighting, and we will have the Skaven versus the Lizardmen. Lizardmen initially looking to get behind this initial ridge, but let's take a look at what these Chaos and Norscan forces are going to be doing. The skirmishing is already underway. The Horsemasters and the Throwing Axes variant already getting some shots into the front line of Norsca. For the rest of the units, they are kind of hanging back. It is a very mobile force that Chaos has brought for you. Norscan is pretty much a more standard build. You have the Fimir, actually these Miststalker variant. But otherwise, yeah, the Marauders are going to have a hard time catching up into any of the units here. The Chaos Knights getting a nice charge into the Chaos or Norscan Ice Wolves. Ice Wolves will take a ton of damage from that charge. Otherwise, yeah, Norscans are going to try and pressure Chaos, but Chaos has just so many mobility forces, especially for an FFA. They're going to be able to pull away and keep, pretty much keep from engaging the Norscan front line unless they want to. If we take a look at what we have a little vortex here coming off. Looks like the Lizardmen are able to dodge that for the most part, and they are trying to hide a little bit behind this hill before they get their final push up as they avoid that warp lightning cannon. So if we swing right on back over to see how Norsca and Chaos are doing, more skirmishing going on. The Gorbies have gotten a little bit of a charge in, and now the Norscan Ice Wolves, or Skin Wolves, I'm sorry, are pushing in, trying to at least catch up to these Gorbies, get a little bit of damage off. Looks like Wolfric got a small little hit in the rear, but it looks like these the Norscan Ice Trolls are falling prey to some more of these Horsemasters, although you do have these Skin Wolves in the vicinity who seem to have, at least for the time being, caught these Chaos Chariots, and they will do fantastic work against that. We do have a burning head roasting through this press of Norscan troops. Doing some decent damage. They weren't too blobbed up, but they were able to go right down the line of the advancing troops. Looks like Norscans are going to try and continue to pressure Chaos as far as they can, but Chaos definitely has the mobility to move things away. And when we look, actually, the Skaven have actually detached a small portion of their army, looking to kind of get some hits into the back of these Norscan forces, but I think they really needed to have their forces here, as the Great Shield of the Old One has been popped, as the Lizardmen and the Skaven have engaged. Salamander Hunting Pack hunting for that Grey Seer, getting in range and unleashing a terrible salvo right into its face. But we have these Warp Lightning Cannons continuing to fire. Looks like they are going to be targeting Lord Croak, who has taken a little bit of damage, but otherwise the frontline engagement has crumpled for the Skaven. I really think they will be missing those troops that have gone off into the sunset, but we will see how things go, as this Doom Wheel is kind of getting a little bit, well, actually not really surrounded, is being attacked by these Red Crescent Sinks, and here comes the Sacred Croxagores looking to assist in that engagement. Storm Vermin, they are halberds, but they are not very good halberds, and the Grey Seer continuing to take fire from those Salamander Hunting Packs. Now, if we take a look at the Chaos Norscan forces, Norscan still trying to press their way farther and farther forward. Looks like some of the the Chaos Knights have taken quite a bit of damage from these Miststalkers, the Marauders, and the Great Weapon variant, as they are getting a little bit more into the main engagement. Kolek, a little far forward, but he is continuing to push back. It looks like he's taken a little bit of focus fire from probably these throwing axe Marauder Horsemen. But we have these Skin Wolves getting onto these Marauder Horsemasters, and they will do very good work here. This is really a nice target for them. It looks like we have a burning head about to be roasting down from Chaos, going right through all of these Marauders and even through these Miststalkers, racking up a ton of kills, putting Chaos heavily in the forefront right now, in a nice almost 1,000-point lead over their next contestant. Now if we take a look at Skaven and the Lizardmen, the Doom Wheel has gotten into the middle of all these Salamander Hunting Packs. Now, Salamander Hunting Packs do want to kind of pull out here, as the Sacred Croxagores do come in to assist, but that Assassin is getting just completely surrounded by Saurus Warriors, and he is an he is more of an anti-lord or anti-hero character, and that is not what he wants to be doing. He does not want to be surrounded by a bunch of infantry, while Nakai, the Wanderer, and Lord Croak has been able to push off the Skaven from their Warp Lightning Cannon and really pretty much clean up shop with what is in the surrounding area. Looks like some of the troops that have been initially pushing into the Norscan forces have pulled back, so we do have some Skaven slaves, as well as some more Deathclaw Wampadiers kind of sitting on the hill, waiting for their turn to get a little bit of damage off. If we guys swing back right on over to Chaos and the Norscan forces, it's a little hard to tell, but it looks like the Chaos Horsemasters are doing fairly well. The Marauders have all been pretty much worn down, and actually here are those Skaven slaves and those Deathclaw Bombardiers. It looks like they got a little too far ahead of themselves. Really should have been with the rest of their own formation. I think those Deathclaw Bombardiers could have been very helpful against some of the blobbed up infantry of the Lizardmen. But here they are with Norsca and Chaos trying to put their hand into too many cookie jars. But right now, the Chaos forces are continuing to kind of kite away. We still have the powerful Kolek Sun Eater helping to deal with some of the infantry that does happen to get onto any of their cavalry forces. It looks like these are the Norscan variant, as these Horsemasters should be able to trade exceptionally well into the anything other than the Horsemasters of the Norscans. I mean, they're pretty much par for the course on both sides. You have the horsemen throwing axes and regular variant on both sides, and they're fairly similar. I'm not really sure exactly what the complete difference is, but the Lizardmen, being able to finish off that assassin, are now looking to regroup themselves as they push ahead a little bit, trying to rout off these last Skaven Sway Singers and the Deathclaw Bombardiers. But they are still looking pretty fresh right now with what they have left. A lot of Saurus, and they still have Croak, and Nakai is at pristine health right now. while the rest of the forces, we do have actually some slingers here. Those the runners, they are getting a little close. Don't have any support right now, but they are getting some nice shots into the Shaman Sorcerer of Fire, doing some decent damage at full ammo, and should be able to continue to kite away. Nothing in the immediate vicinity will be able to catch them. The only thing that'll catch them would be the Chaos Forces, who are pretty much completely spent of their ammo. All the Horsemasters, these Horsemasters looks like only 1 round of ammunition left. These throwing axe is very low as well. Kolek is about half health. Chaos Sorcerer is at half health as well on his Manticore, but Kolek and that Chaos Sorcerer will be able to do some pretty good work. The Chariot's still doing fairly well. But the Skaven forces have at least routed, or have rallied for the time being, consolidating their forces, trying to get a little bit of a rear engagement, hopefully into Chaos Norska. But otherwise, the Lizardmen have regrouped themselves. Very formidable forces that they have, very cohesive. They have a nice lineup of Saurus warriors still fresh, and we have Lord Croak, who is not dead yet, so you will still have some magic left, some Great Shield, the old ones, to help with those engagements, and Salamander's still at a little less than half ammunition, but they will do very well against Kolek and potentially the Manticore or even the Chariots, if they are able to get some nice shots in. Sacred Crocscore is also doing fairly healthy. But it looks like the Norscan forces are on their last legs as the Miststalkers are surrounded by Kolek, all of the Chariots and the Horsemasters of Chaos. We have a few of the Marauders coming into support, but they are already wavering. It won't be long before they all shatter, and away they go. Miststalkers will be shattering as well. Night Runners still able to get a few poking shots into these Chariots, doing isn't no damage, but it's not going to be enough for them to be able to survive these charge from these Horsemasters and those Chariots. That is looking like it is going to be a Lizardman and a Chaos showdown right now, and the Skaven will look to spoil the party, though I don't think that they have enough left to deal things. A few shots raining in, a few shots connecting to these Horsemasters, but otherwise, yeah, the Lizardmen will continue to advance, and they definitely have the stronger frontline engagement, especially considering Chaos has lost pretty much all of its skirmishing power. They still have its mobility, but they don't have any of its shots that they can use to whittle down the oncoming Lizardman forces. You still have Kolek, who is a beast of a unit, but there is Nakai, and there is the Salamander hunting packs to help deal with him, as well as the Croxagores will do fairly well. We have some last charge of these Marauder Horsemen, but these 2 Chameleon Skinks will be keeping it down with all their poison abilities. Nakai charging in, Salamander hunting packs getting a nice volley in, and they will be routing those horsemen right off and shattering them pretty much right off the charge. And here are the Skaven lurking in the back. Bombardiers can do fairly well with what they have left, especially if the Lizardmen Chaos get blobbed up, though I think with what they had, the point total that they need to make up, it just isn't going to be enough. And yeah, Chaos is sitting pretty with over 2,000 point lead right now, though they still have more than 2,000 points to give to the Lizardman right here, especially in the form of Kolek. He is going to be quite a good source of points in this FFA. Though Chaos is trying to kind of circle around, get the at least the upper ground right now, as they are trying to take this hill, and then they'll be able to get some charges off with these Chaos Knights into these Chameleon Skinks. So there are some Saurus warriors mixed in, and of course the Salamander hunting pack will be close behind, but they do get a nice little charge off into at least the Chameleon Skinks. The Horsemasters do converge as well, and Kolek is engaging with the Sacred Croxagores. He will do quite a bit of damage to them, though with the help of the Saurus Warriors, that might be a little too much for Kolek. He does get Cascading Fire Cloak cast on him, so he's getting plus 25 armor piercing and plus 24 melee defense. So that will definitely help with his tankiness. But these Gorpies going straight for those Salamander hunting packs as a burning head roasts through all of these Lizardman units. Luckily, the Lizardmen are a little bit more tanky, but the balance of power, the scoreboard is still sitting at about 2,000 point advantage to Chaos. Though will Chaos be able to hold off the forces, as it looks like Lord Croak is getting a little spell off, trying as he gets a great shield. The old one's pretty much clipping all of the units for the Lizardmen in that shield. Able to get a nice little protection as the Chaos Sorcerer Fire is attacking the Salamanders. But Kolek is getting dragged down by the Sacred Kroxigors and the poison coming in from these Chameleon Skinks. And there are some shots raining in from the Skaven. These Skaven Prisoners getting some decent shots in. Deathglow Bombardiers also getting some shots into the Saurus Warriors. But Kolek is going to be going down here as he is wavering and he is routing now. It's only a matter of time before he shatters completely. But the Lizardmen are quickly gaining up, are catching up in the point total, as the Saurus Warriors are going to be getting on top of these Deathglow Bombardiers. If they are able to get their charge off, it looks like these Deathglow Bombardiers might be able to get away, but they are wavering, and the Slingers are going to be getting caught out by another unit, and those will be shattering across the board. Kolek has rallied at least, but the Sacred Kroxigors with Nakai coming in with his stick is not going to be denied. Even though Kolek is a fantastic anti-large character, Nakai will probably prove just be too much as he does rout, gets staggered a little bit from some shots coming in, and he may go down, and away he goes. Scoreboard is pretty much dead even, but that last man standing looks like it will be going the way of the Lizardmen. And there is just the Gorebeast Chariot left. One single unit left for Chaos as it approaches the Lizardmen forces. And here it comes, though I don't think it'll be getting anywhere near those Lizardmen. They have the Chameleon Skinks. They still have ammo left on the Salamander hunting packs, as everything is just told to attack these chariots. A little spell coming in from Croak, last game-ending damage to be firing off, but the Gorebeast does dodge that. He does actually get a charge in, rampaging the Saurus Warriors, but he does rout, and that will be your game, ladies and gentlemen. We take a look at the after-battle report. Lizardmen, led by myself, will be taking it with that nice little last man standing bonus. Tank coming in second, very close second. Without that last man standing bonus, he may have been able to edge out the score, though the last bit of damage on the Gorebeast might have been enough for the Lizardmen to take that advantage anyways. The Skaven pretty much getting completely beaten down by the Lizardmen early on in the game, and the Norskins were able to get heavily outskirmished by the 4 Horsemasters of the Chaos, as well as Chaos Knights throwing axes, and just, yeah, it was pretty much all mobility for Chaos here at the Sorcerer of Fire, doing a lot of work with 174 kills, some very nice burning heads coming down. And on the Manticore, he does pretty well. And of course, the Chariots doing well indeed. And then Lizardmen, that frontline of Saurus Warriors holding strong, surviving all the way until the end of the match, pretty much able to break through all the Skaven forces that they went up against. Salamander hunting pack, only 24 kills, but did a lot of damage, pretty much take out the Grey Seer for the Skaven, and then did a lot of damage to Kolek and some of the larger targets of Chaos. Croak with his magic doing some good work as well. Take a look at what Skaven had. The Warp Knight Cannon really didn't do a whole lot, but the Deathglow Bombardiers did some decent work, able to get some shots into the Saurus Warriors on multiple occasions. But otherwise, I think, yeah, the Grey Seer went out a little early. Assassin got collapsed upon by some Saurus, and that was the end of him. And yeah, Norscan, they got the short end of the stick. They were heavily outgunned in terms of the skirmishing capabilities. Chaos just came in with all those Horsemasters, and there wasn't a whole lot that the Marauders of Norsca could do. Despite my love of Norsca, they did fall short of the occasion. But that will be our match. This was part of Dobplay's FFA King of the Hill. It was quite a fun little series of games. But yeah, this was a fantastically fun match. Quite a bit of lag during the match, but for the replay, you guys get to see all of that nice and crystal smooth. But yeah, that will be all for today. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.